everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin, and we're also joined by Tommy McLaughlin. So, hello to you both.
Hello.
Hello. So, on today's podcast, we'll be discussing last weekend's English Premier League results and also Scottish Premier League results. We'll be previewing this week's European matches for both English and Scottish clubs. And at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of the latest stage in football news. So we'll start off with last weekend's English Premier League matches. So I'll just quickly go through the results for you. So the first match of the weekend was Man City versus Liverpool, and that finished 1-1. And then it was Burnley 1, West Ham United 2, Luton Town 2, Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle United 4, Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Brighton 3, Sheffield United 1, Bournemouth 3, Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. And then on the Sunday, the matches were Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2, Everton 0, Man United 3, and on Monday night, which was last night, it finished Fulham 3, Wolves 2. So, guys, what do you think? Is there a match there that stands out to you? Is there a key point to the weekend that stands out to you? What do you think?
Well, for me, there's two matches that stand out. I think they're probably the best matches I've seen this weekend in terms of the English Premier League. And that would have been Newcastle 4, Chelsea 1, which is a shock result in many ways because Newcastle kind of dipped in recent weeks and they've got a massive injury list at the moment. And you've seen a debut of one of their academy graduates who's potentially going to be playing in the Champions League tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, that was probably the shock result because Chelsea picked up pretty good results recently. And they looked as if they turned a corner under Pochettino, but Newcastle just blew them away. And obviously losing the captain Reece James to a red card, which didn't help either. But no, I thought the Newcastle crowd was excellent, and some of the goals on show were brilliant. I thought Raheem Sterling's goal was a pick of the bunch, even though it meant absolutely nothing in the end result. But no, I thought it was an enthralling game. And then obviously the other one, which we're probably going to talk about in length, is probably the Everton 0, Manchester United 3. And what better way to start than talk about Alejandro Garnacho's goal? It's the stuff he dreams. It's like you dream of when you go to bed at night, when you go to the training pitch and try to emulate your heroes. And that there was a 1 in a million shot, and what better way to start the game? And in terms of the match,
shall we talk about that goal right now?
Aye, on you go, mate. Aye.
Should we just talk about it right now? Like, I mean,
just go for it.
I mean, it's probably the biggest talking point of the weekend. I mean, it was just the technique and everything about that goal was just unbelievable. I mean, is this the best goal you've ever seen?
I think it's the best goal I've ever seen. But I think there's obviously for me, there's so many ways you can look at it. Probably the best overkick you've ever seen, potentially. But there's many ones that can go up there. But in terms of like the best goals I've seen live, anyway. So I've went with like a top three. And I've went with Hugo Almeida's free kick against Inter Milan back in 2005. Don't know if you ever watched the clip. It's just one of the most purest clean strikes you'll ever see. Just constantly rises right in the top hand corner. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo's goal for Manchester United against Porto in the Champions League last 16, when he just got the ball at his feet, no backlift whatsoever, and it just rose right in the top hand corner. And hitting a shot with that much power and velocity from 45 yards out is pretty ridiculous. And then the last one for me is got to be Nakamura's free kick against Manchester United back in 2007. One of the best free kicks I've ever seen, and obviously at the time probably the best goalkeeper in the world was Edwin van der Sar, stand at 6'6", and to hit it right in the postage stamp in the Champions League against a European giant in Manchester United is got to be right up there. And yeah, but in terms of the Garnacho goal, I thought it was incredible.
Mm-hmm. What were you told me? Do you think that's the best goal you've ever seen? Or what do you think?
I would say it's the best off a kick I've ever seen because the technique, because he's running away from goal, and that's harder. You know, like see,
Yeah,
like
that's what I think. Yeah.
when you look at Wayne Rooney's and that was as a fluke, but he was just like sitting there waiting for it. And Ronaldo, like when Gareth Bale had a very great overhead kick, but Garnacho, I don't even know how he's been practicing that. He's tiny and he managed to get up that high and hit that. But I went for my top three. There's been really good goals in my head, but so hard to narrow it down. So I've went for my top three is Totti against Inter Milan, chipped, he'd faked three defenders. What year was it, Pearse?
I think it
Was
was
it
7, I think, maybe.
7 now? And he just faked the defenders kept falling, and then he just dinked it ever so nice over the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper fell. And then I've obviously got to go for Dennis Bergkamp, the touch round the
Oh yeah.
defender. Like nobody can ever recreate that touch. I don't know how he did that. Like even YouTubers and F2 freestyles have been trying to do it, and it doesn't even look the same. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's the same," but it's not. That was in a game situation as well. The pressure and defenders are so much more physical and harder to attack against back then. And also, I've got to go for Scott McKenna against Callum Marnock, long range distance strike. It was 1-1, and he takes a touch left-footed, and he just rifles it right in the top right corner. No goalkeeper in the world to save that. Get Van der Sar in goals and get Pearse McLaughlin in goals, and he still can't save that, by the way. I'm telling you, best goal I've ever seen in my life. Scott McKenna.
I mean, I could just tell there was going to be an Aberdeen goal here involved. I just knew it. I mean, guys, I've got to be honest with you, right? I struggle to really find a better goal than Garnacho's goal on Sunday. I mean, I just like there's just so many things about it. Number one, like it's the fact he's going away from the goal. Like, so he's actually taking steps further back from the goal to try and reach that, right? It's not as if like some overhead kick goals that you see. I mean, they don't connect with it properly. So, like Wayne Rooney, for example, when he scored that famous goal against Man City, I mean, that hit his shin. So, I mean, although it was a great goal, I mean, it didn't fully connect with him. But the thing with Garnacho's goal is that he's stepping away from the goal. He's fully connected it with his foot. And the fact is, it's landed in the top corner. And I mean, Jordan Pickford's died for that, but I don't even see the point of why he did that because he was never getting to it. And the power as well that he got onto that overhead kick shot. I mean, it was just incredible. It's already the goal of the season. There's no way there's going to be a goal that tops that this season. I mean, it would have to be something ridiculous for a goal to be topped for that not to be goal of the season. I mean, and actually, before Garnacho's goal on the Sunday, there was a goal on the Saturday by Michael Olise. I think it was against Luton. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen that, but that was what a goal that was. I mean, that was an incredible goal. But you were just discussing there about your three top goals you've seen all time. I mean, Garnacho's for me is right. It's in there. I mean, it was incredible for me. I'm actually going to say Marco van Barsten's goal in the World Cup. I can't remember who it was against, but I mean, it was just like the angle of the shot that from where he hit the shot and where it ended up. I mean, it was, and the fact it was in the World Cup as well. Marigold's going to be in the World Cup. I'll tell you that in a minute. But I mean, that Marco van Basten goal, that's always going to get talked about. And Marigold's Diego Maradona's goal, where he went on that run. I can't remember who it was against. Do you know who it was against?
England.
England. Yeah, England. Yes, England. Anyway, but I mean, like, the reason that's went in my top three, right? Because back then in football, like you didn't see many goals like that. Like that wasn't your traditional goal. That was just something like football fans back then would just never have seen before. I mean, it was. I mean, I think he basically took the ball by the full England, the full England team. It was incredible. So that Garnacho goal, Marco van Basten, Diego Maradona. I mean, the fact I'm putting Garnacho in a top three goal thing next to Marco van Basten, Diego Maradona, it just says a lot about how good a goal and how highly I rate that Garnacho goal. I mean, it was incredible.
But it doesn't compare to McKenna.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. I mean, that we can't even discuss that. I mean, that's in a whole different stratosphere. I mean, we can't even discuss that anyway.
was
But
gonna
anyway,
s-
guys,
I was going to say
uh,
there's an honourable mention I would say that we anybody would talk about is the Roberto Carlos free kick against
oh
France.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about that. I didn't put that in my top three because Scott McKenna's goal was much more bit harder to do.
Can I ask you this just before we get back onto the weekend results? Do you think that Garnacho overhead kick's the best overhead kick goal you've seen?
Aye, so
Yeah.
far.
Not
So
for
far? What do you?
not
Not
for
for
me.
you?
I don't know if you remember back in the 90s in the Champions League, Mario Bresson.
I've never seen that. No.
It's for Fiorentina. He actually scissor kicked the ball outside the box into top hand corner. And for me, if you do an overhead kick, right, obviously that's ridiculous technique, right? But to do it from outside the box and still get into top corner is even harder. So for me, the technique in that's a bit. And obviously, I think the Champions League is at a higher level than the English Premier League. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the pinnacle of club football.
Aye. What about Zlatan's?
Yeah, Zlatan's. Yeah, I was thinking it was like it was against England. I
It
was
was a
thinking,
fin-
yeah, that was a good goal. But I was going to say, I think we have to mention Gareth Bale's overhead kick in Champions League final against Liverpool. I mean, I think that made Liverpool go back in the lead in that final. And I mean, it was like he connected with that fully. I mean, the power he got in that overhead kick and everything. I mean, that was an incredible goal. So for me, my two overhead goal, I'd say Garnacho's is better, just in terms of technique and how hard and difficult it was. But in terms of the most important overhead kick goal I've seen, I'd probably say Gareth Bale's in Champions League final. But that's my opinion. Anyway, we need to get back onto the results this weekend. So, what about you, Tommy? Is there a match from this weekend that stands out to you?
The one we were just talking about, Man U.
The Man U, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
no, I'd agree.
And obviously Nottingham Forest versus
Brighton.
Brighton, 3-2.
Yeah, that was a good result. Yeah,
Very, very
I've got
good.
to
Very
mention.
good.
Yeah, I've got to mention Aston Villa. I mean, they went to Tottenham and 1-1. I mean, Aston Villa. I mean, they're only 3 points off top of the table. I mean, it's an incredible season they're having. It really is. I mean, I think they're right in the. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think they won. Obviously, I don't think they win the title. I don't think they're that good, but I definitely think they're in for a chance to finish top four. Try and get a Champions League place. And I mean, a shout out to Unai Emery. I mean, I think we've talked about it in the podcast, but I mean, what a job he's doing with Aston Villa. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. So that's my match of the weekend from the Premier League. The Tottenham one, Aston Villa 2. But obviously, the big headlines is the Garnacho goal in the Man United Everton match. So we'll move on now to the last weekend's Scottish Premier League results. So I'll just quickly run through them. So it finished Celtic 1, Motherwell 1, Dundee 1, Hibs 2, Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0, St Mirren 1, Livingston 0, and Aberdeen 1, Rangers 1. So it wasn't really a goalmouth weekend of goals in the Scottish Premier League. But what do you think, guys? Is there a match there that stands out to you?
Aye.
Of course there is. On you go.
Aberdeen, just my mighty Dons versus the Rangers. What can I say about the match? Well, we deserved all 3 points. I don't know how Cantwell didn't get booked for doing a Tom Daly dive into the try to dive into the box. I think it was a swimming pool there. Because he's a bigger lassie than most lassie footballers, man. I'm not gonna lie about it. He's got a move on him, but he doesn't fucking do the talking. And pardon my French now. And I would also say that Golson, man, for a big guy that looks like a guy out of Star Trek, you know what I mean? A little slight contact in your jersey and you're going down as if you've been shot by a machine gun, mate. What is that?
So you don't think
Referee, man. 100% not, man.
Right.
What we're playing? We're playing polo, water polo. You know what I mean? Don't understand. The referee even went to VAR and see the fans. People say, get rid of VAR, get rid of VAR. No, replace the whole linesman staff, the refereeing system in Scotland, and replace it with rugby referees and rugby linesmen. I tell you that, it'd be a lot more challenges getting let away with. I tell you that, it'd be a lot more physical. Because if you've seen half of the big guys going up to the left referees and rugby and like that, and the guy's like, "I'm so sorry, mate. I'm so sorry." He's like, "Listen to me. That's what you need." I mean, you got brother beaten. You know what I mean? And you got I'm telling you, man, horrible. And I would also say there's another match that started from St Mirren. St Mirren 1-0. St Mirren are getting a few wee results there and then. They're doing well, very well.
Yep, absolutely. What about you? Well, starting off with obviously Tommy there was just talking about the Aberdeen Rangers match. Do you think it was a penalty, Pearse, for Rangers at the end?
One of the ones, I think for me, it's 50-50. Because I think it was very, very soft. But at the end of the day, he was kind of potentially blocked off in the beginning, Garterman, but he does have a hand on his jersey, and any kind of pull, you know, players are going to go down, especially when you're in a winning situation. I just felt as if Golson wasn't getting anywhere near the ball, so I don't think the challenge needed to be made. But touching on the game itself, I thought Aberdeen was so solid, resolute, and although Rangers had the majority of possession and they didn't really create anything of note apart from, I think it was like the best chance they had was Liam Balogun with a back post header, point blank range, and Roos made an absolute amazing save, double save. But apart from that, Aberdeen, anything they went forward, they looked a threat, and they looked as if they were the ones going to score. And I thought the opening goal for a couple of minutes by Miovski was genius. Long ball with the goalkeeper, and then a flick on by his strike partner. And then the fact is he's took it first time, which a lot of people take touches, they take too long. He just lets the ball drop and just guides it right into the corner. That's a sign of a confident striker. And he's got 2 goals in the last 6 games, but 2 goals in big games. One being in the cup semi against Hibs, and now against Rangers in Pittodrie. And for me, I think he's a phenomenal striker, and I think he's only going to get better. And Jack Butland had to make numerous saves in the game. The pick of the bunch was the one from Jamie McGrath at the edge of the box. And it's not for the first time this season Rangers have had to rely on the former England goalkeeper. But I think in the end result, a draw is probably a fair result, but I think Aberdeen would have been gutted having the manner in which they lost the goal, because at that point they probably thought they'd see the game out, and but in terms of the decision, I thought it was soft, and you've seen it given this season because referees haven't been covering themselves in glory this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think it is a soft decision. I've got no idea what's a penalty and what's not anymore. I've got no idea. All I know is that the referee went to VAR, and I knew when he went to look at it, I knew it was going to be a penalty. But I think it is definitely a soft decision. You know, I think Aberdeen will be pretty annoyed at that. But like, I've got 2 results here. So I'll start off in the Celtic match. Celtic won, Motherwell won. I mean, again, a disappointing result for Celtic. Motherwell come to Celtic Park. Motherwell haven't been playing well, pretty bad run of form, and I mean they've left Celtic Park for a point, and they scored in the last minute as well in the match. But for Celtic, I mean, they just seem to be pretty inconsistent at the moment. They seem to be getting one good result and then they can't really back it up. They can't really seem to get on a good run of form this season. So that was kind of a big result from the weekend for me. And I just want to point out, touch on Hibs, who went to Dens Park and won 2-1. I think Nick Montgomery, the Hibs manager, I think he's doing a pretty good job in them. They seem to definitely have kind of turned a corner with him. I think they try to play good football as well. They play it from the back, and I think their first goal last weekend came from that. The fact that they played out from the back, and it was a really good team goal. So yeah, they 2 results were my standouts from the weekend. Not many talking points from this weekend in the Scottish Premier League. not a lot of goals as well, but I'm sure there'll be many more talking points in the weeks to come because there's obviously many games coming up now in both England and Scotland in the league and in the run up to Christmas. So there's going to be a lot of results and stuff to talk about. So we'll move on to so we've got European football this week coming up. So we'll start off with the Champions League matches from England. So the matches are PSG versus Newcastle, Man City versus RB Leipzig, Galatasaray versus Man United, and Arsenal versus Lens. So, guys, what do you think? Which match from they four stands out to you?
I'd go for the Arsenal versus Lens because I just like seeing that wee man getting angry. I mean, like Mikel Arteta. I mean, did you see him against Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp and him had the wee scuffle and then Jurgen Klopp just shut him up and just shut the wee man. I hope that Lens give him a right good like kind of controversial winning goal or something, an offside or a penalty. I just want to hear his press post match conference. I'm like, oh yes, I'm listening to that by the way. Because I think Arsenal, I've always thought they're ever since like back in the day with the Invincible season that they've just fell short and choked and they get too confident. They get too confident. Oh, we've got Saka, we've got Odegaard and that, we've got this. They're good individual players, yes. But when they come together, when it comes to big games, they do not turn up together. When it comes against wee games, they rack up goals and it makes it look a good finish at the end of the season. But for the Champions League, I just feel that Arsenal, even if they do get a result against Lens, I don't think they're going to go very far because they've not got the quality in the bench, they've not got the quality in the first team, and plus the goalkeeper, there's not got many good, like class goalkeepers. They've got Ramsdale, they've got that Raya. They're decent, but they're no Champions League quality. So when they do come against Champions League strikers, they're going to be caught out a lot, I would say.
I mean, for me, it's the PSG Newcastle game at the Parc des Princes. I think that's a really, really interesting game because of the league table, or because of the Champions League group stage table as well in that group. It's really tight. I mean, if Newcastle were to go to PSG and win, I mean that would be what a result that would be. It really would. PSG would want revenge as well, considering that they got beat off on Newcastle. I think it was 4-1 in the last match. So that's my standout game from the English teams playing in the Champions League. What do you think, Pearse? Do you agree? Is there another match there?
For me, it's going to be the Galatasaray against Manchester United. Manchester United were buoyant after that result the weekend, although they did give up quite a lot of chances to Everton, and I don't think Galatasaray will miss as many opportunities that Everton did. But having obviously Manchester United back, Luke Shaw back at the weekend, Dalot back at right back, Kobe Mainoo, and you'd a lot more attacking talent in the team. And but as I said a couple of weeks ago, Galatasaray would go in the hostile atmosphere and the quality that they had, and the fact that they beat Old Trafford. I think I could only see one winner, and that would be Galatasaray. But I'm kind of 50-50 split at the moment because I think Manchester United, since that result, have picked up form and at the right time because they need points massively if they take any chance to get out of the group or even into Europa League. Because I thought obviously Manchester United would struggle to get any points in the remaining two games. But no, I think that's going to be a really interesting tie because they lost to Copenhagen away from home, and this is probably one of the most hostile atmospheres in European football in Galatasaray.
Yeah, that's a good match as well. I think Man United went to Galatasaray and won, so there's quite a lot riding on that match. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it'll be good. This week in terms of European football, we've also got Scottish teams playing in Europe this week as well. So we'll start off with Lazio versus Celtic in the Champions League, and then in Europa League we've got Rangers versus Aris Limassol, and in the Conference League we've got Helsinki versus Aberdeen. So we'll start off with Lazio versus Celtic considering it's only 3 teams in Scotland. So we'll start off with Lazio versus Celtic. So what do you think? Do you think Celtic will got a chance? You not? What do you think?
I think
say-
Lazio Celtic. I think Celtic have to show a bit of respectability in the competition because although they've had some nice performances in periods in games, I think the last result away from home against Atletico Madrid, where they lost 6-0, it's a pretty humiliating defeat. And you want to put some respectability in your name and show that you can compete at this level. In terms of progressing into Europe beyond Christmas, I think it's going to be very difficult. And with injuries to key players in the Celtic side, I don't see them going and getting a win. I think a draw would probably be a good result, although they have won there in the past. But that was in Europa League. Champions League is a different level, and it's different kettle of fish. And also, it's a good couple of years ago now. But no, I think Celtic can cause them problems, but it's as if they can maintain it for the 90 minutes, and I just don't see that happening. And I think it's probably going to end up in a draw or a narrow defeat to narrow defeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough ask. You know, if Celtic have any chances of getting even European football next Christmas, I think they've got to win these last 2 matches. And I mean, I mean, Celtic have we all know they've got history of going to Lazio and winning. We all know. I remember that 2-1 victory that they got back in 2019 when Olivier Cham scored that winning goal last minute. I mean, it would be quite incredible if Celtic were to kind of repeat that again. But I don't see it, to be honest. I mean, Celtic have kind of been they've been good in the Champions League to an extent, but they've been a bit kind of careless as well. They've had, I think that's 3 red cards in this group stage, which is, you know, if you're going to keep getting red cards, I mean, you're going to find it hard to pick up results. So, I mean, I think Celtic are capable. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're capable. I think if Celtic were to come out of that game and get a draw, I think they'd be pretty happy about it. But it's going to be a tough ask. And I think if Celtic want to get something out of this match, I think they're going to have to be really disciplined in terms of, you know, not picking up any yellow cards, you know, and kind of keeping their concentration really fully for 90 minutes. So yeah, I think I've got a feeling that Celtic will do something. I'm going to say a draw, but you know, it's hard to predict. So we've got also in the Europa League, we've got Rangers versus Aris Limassol. So obviously Rangers are kind of, you know, they've kind of picked up in the group stage lately. They got a good result in the last match. So what do you think? Do you think they'll win this match? It's at Ibrox as well. So do you think they'll win this match? What do you think?
Well, I would say the Rangers have got a really good manager compared to when Michael Beale, and I feel as if he's more kind of respected, and he's got the kind of experience and the quality of his tactics. The kind of, if it's not going well, he can change it, and then he's not afraid to take off anyone. I don't think, as you see when he took off kind of Cantwell and put on Scott Wright, and he just knows how to make the right substitutions. Because I've been watching his managerial tactics, and I think he is a great manager. I think Limassol, I don't think they're capable of going to Rangers and giving them a good game, because they could give them a good fight, but I don't think they're going to win. I think Rangers have got the quality just to get the 3 points and get the match over the line. Tavernier, he's been quality this season in SPL, and he's also been quite quality in the Europe as well. He's just so good at kind of just putting it above the top, or set pieces. That's where Rangers are most deadly. It's because if you take out Tavernier from that team, who's going to hit the set pieces? Who's going to be as deadly as him? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Pearse?
Yeah, I echo what Tommy says. I think the Rangers will have enough quality to go and potentially get a comfortable victory. I'd probably predict a 3-0 victory. Obviously, they lost last time out against Aris Limassol, which is probably the greatest result in their history. But that was when Rangers were in a bit of disarray, when you had interim manager in Charles Stephen Davis and Alex Ray combination, and the players' confidence was low. But you look at the team now, Rangers have picked up result after result, and their confidence is building under the new manager. And you can see some of the players' performance levels just rise as the weeks go on. And yeah, I can only see a comfortable Rangers win.
Yeah, I'd agree. So I think mostly because it's at Ibrox as well, and I think Rangers have kind of going well with Clement ever since he's come into the club. I think any team going to Ibrox on a European night, it's going to find it pretty hard. They've kind of got a good find going there. And yeah, I do expect Rangers to kind of win that match pretty comfortably. But you never know. You never know. Aris Limassol did beat Rangers in the last match, so they might take confidence from that. We never know. But I do expect Rangers to win. And then lastly, in the Conference League, we've got Helsinki versus Aberdeen. So Aberdeen, they're now knocked out of the Conference League, so they won't have any European football this Christmas, so they don't have really anything to they've got no real progression or anything in this group. So do you think this will just be a match of pride for Aberdeen, or do you think they'll be really wanting to be competitive and try and win? What do you think, Tommy?
Well, I think it's also like I be competitive, but also they're going to try and get some of the players' fitnesses up for maybe try out some like new players and try and get them ready for the SPL. So that's probably going to be the biggest competition this season, since as you said they're not in Europe for Christmas. So I think they're going to be focusing on getting like top 3 or even top 2. And I do think Miłoszewski won't be playing. I have a feeling that they're not going to play him, because they're not going to risk getting him injured over a game that's not really that important if they're not going to get progress. They might even play like Duke up front, because he's rapid. I know he plays in the wing usually, but Duke up front's a menace. They get him a wee bit of time up front to see how he does. But I would also say they're going to rest a lot of their first team players, 100%. I would if I was a manager, because bring on your youngsters, put on some players that are like on the bench that need game time, get them up to standard and that. That's what I do. And I do think that Aberdeen might win it, but I don't think so, because I don't think they really care, because it's long gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think Aberdeen. I mean, I think they will really take this seriously. I don't see them trying to slacken off and not really caring about the match. I think they'll definitely want to go and try and win the match, but I do see them resting some players, because they've got other priorities, bigger priorities at the moment. Do you have any add, Pearse?
Yeah, I think they'll probably just rest Miłoszewski, maybe on a couple of others. I think because Miłoszewski did come off a knock against Rangers, and obviously cup final just before Christmas, so I think that's the priority for Aberdeen at the moment. But in terms of the Europa League, I think they probably lose the match.
So for the last part of the show, Pearse will now give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah, so with week 37 of 38 in the K League 1, and so on Friday the 24th of November we had Incheon United 3, Ulsan Hyundai 1, and then we had Saturday the 25th of November, Jeju United 0, Daejeon Hana Citizen 2, Jumbo Hyundai Motors 2, Gwangju FC 0, FC Seoul 0, Suwon Samsung Blue Wings 1, which was, we'll talk about it in a bit more detail. It was a feisty affair, just to say the least. Gangwon FC 2, Suwon FC 0, Pohang Steelers 1, and Daegu FC 0. So a couple of weeks ago we had Ulsan Hyundai confirmed as champions. They're on 73 points at the top of the table. Second position, we've got Pohang Steelers, who are sitting comfortably above the rest of the chasing pack. And then for that final Asian Champions League position, which will go into the playoffs, it's 3 teams batting out for the final spot, and that's Gwangju FC, third position on 58th, and then right behind them we've got Jumbo Hyundai Motors on 57 points, and then Incheon United in 5th position on 56 points. As you see, 3 teams separated by a mere 2 points, and with going down to the final game, it's going to be very exciting. And in terms of the relegation battle, couldn't be any tighter. You've got 10th position, Gangwon FC, 37 points, games played, 33 points. And then foot of the table, Suwon FC and Suwon Samsung Blue Wings, both on 32 points. So one team's automatically relegated and the other two into the playoff. So they're both all fighting for survival. They'll be wanting to avoid that 12th position and Chancellor Arm at the playoffs. So it's very exciting times, both at the top and the bottom half of the K-League 1. So in terms of the J-League 1, Vissel Kobe were confirmed as champions at the weekend after a slip-up by Yokohama F. Marinos on Friday, 24th of November, as they drew 0-0 with Alberts Nagata and they failed to retain their crown under Kevin Muscat. And there was also another match on Friday, and that was Kawasaki from Tally 3 and Kawashi Antlers 0. And on Saturday, 25th of November, it was Cerezo Osaka 0, Kyoto Sanga 1, FC Tokyo 1, Hoikudo Consadole Sapporo 3, Kawashiro Reysol 2, Sagan Tusu 2, Sanfrecce Hiroshima 3, Gambo Osaka 0, Ura Diamonds 2, Avispa Fukuoka 3, Vissel Kobe 2, Nagoya Grampus 1, Yokohama FC 0, Shonan Bellmare 1. Yeah, so talking to the Vissel Kobe, at the start of the weekend, they were off to a perfect start. All they had to do was win their match at home against a really good Nagoya Grampus side, and they were off to a perfect start after 14 minutes, 2-0 up, and then Kasper Junker pulled a goal back, and they're clinging on towards the end because that's a monumental victory, because it's their very first ever J-League 1 title. So really exciting stuff. So in terms of the final two positions for the Asian Champions Leagues, you've got Yokohama F. Marinos right behind them on 64 points. And then you've got Sanfrecce Hiroshima and Ura Diamonds fighting out for that third position. And that is by a mere 1 point getting to the final game, because this is week 33 of 34. So next week will be the penultimate weekend, and we'll find out who gets that final Asian Champions League position, and they'll get into the playoffs similar to the K-League 1. So they're both on 55 and 54 points respectively, Sanfrecce Hiroshima and Ura Diamonds. So it's going to be very exciting times. So in terms of relegation battle, similar stuff to the K-League 1. So Yokohama FC, unfortunately, will be relegated, although they are mathematically not relegated, but the fact is they're sitting at the foot of the table, 3 points adrift, 1 game remaining, and they've got 3 teams above them. So Kashi Reysol 32 points, and then Gambo Osaka and Shonan Bellmare are both on 34 points. So they're a bit caught adrift, so they need a miracle to stay up, and I think the other 2 teams will get into the relegation playoff, and exciting times both at the top and bottom half of the J-League 1. Yeah. So in terms of other Asian football news, so Gimcheon Sangmu have won the 2023 K-League 2 Championship and have been achieved promotion to the K-League 1. So exciting times as we now find out some teams that will be promoted to the first division. So Pohang Steel striker Zeka has agreed to move to Chinese club Shandong Taishan. Big blow for the runners-up with the K-League 1, but at least it looks like he's not going to rival in Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, as it was reported last week. So during the derby match between FC Seoul and Suwon Samsung Blue Wings last weekend, a clash occurred between players and coaching staff of both teams. The K-League plans to decide tomorrow whether to refer this case to the disciplinary committee. So, as we reported last week, Hwang Ujjo is kind of caught himself up in a bit of wrongdoing. So, a woman in Hwang Ujjo's sex tape says the footballer filmed her without consent. The woman in the star footballer Hwang's leaked sex tape explicitly stated that she did not want to be filmed. According to chat messages with Hwang revealed last Thursday, the victim wrote, "I clearly said no, and I asked you to delete the video. How come there's a video even after I said no? You need to admit that you committed an illegal action." However, Hwang did not address or respond to his illegality part, but replied, "I am trying to stop the ongoing situation as much as I can, really." The victim's attorney stated that, while questioning the sex tape leaked, There was a statement that implied Hwang illegally shared the sex tape with his acquaintances. The victim is now suspicious, thinking who could see and share the sex tape. If this is true, there will be much more serious damage and pain to the victim. Hwang's team wickedly unveiled the victim's personal information, which posed an extreme degree of anxiety to the victim, making her feel threatened. We can no longer tolerate secondary damages to the victim. Hwang's attorney on Wednesday said the woman in the video is a public figure working in the broadcast industry and is already married to someone else. Hwang's side also claimed the video was filmed by Hwang's mobile phone and was not taken illegally, as Hwang and the woman watched the video together after filming it. In June, an unidentified individual leaked the sex tape to accuse Hwang of filming videos without consent and having sexual relationships with many women. The individual who claimed to be Hwang's ex-lover turned out to be his sister-in-law. So Seoul police on Wednesday said the leaker was Hwang's sister-in-law, who acted as an agent for the footballer as she went on a business trips with her husband to assist Hwang. His sister-in-law was arrested and referred to the prosecution. So the KFA announced that it has decided to exclude Hwang Ujjo from the national team until the results of the investigation into his allegedly illegal filming are released. From guiding the club to promotion to steering Vissel Kobe to the Meiji Yasuda J1 League title as manager, Takayuki Yoshida emerged as the hero who led Vissel Kobe from J League 2 to J League 1 in 2012. Fast forward 11 years, and Yoshida, now at the helm, led his former club to clinch the Meiji Yasuda J League 1 title for the first time in the club's stoked history. Massive congratulations to Vissel Kobe, who are now the 2023 Meiji Yasuda J League 1 champions. So yeah, the 2023 Major J League 1 league title adds to Juan Mata's incredible record of winning titles in every country he has played. So he had 7 titles in England, 1 title in Spain, 1 title in Turkey, and 1 title in Japan. So Juan Mata has now won 2 league titles in 1 year, the Super League with Galatasaray and the J League 1 with Vissel Kobe, 35 years old and still going strong. And the stage is set for the 2023 J League Road to J1 playoffs next Saturday at the Japan National Stadium. It will be Shimizu S-Pulse against their fellow original 10-team Tokyo Verdy, which current J League team will join FC Machida Zelvia and Jibolo Awata in the Meiji Yasuda J League 1 next season. Found out on Saturday, December 2nd at 2:05 p.m. Japan Southern Time. And that is all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse. And also thank you, Tommy, for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.